What is the crime rate in Tulsa? Is Tulsa safe? Where should I live at in Tulsa? Those are a lot of great questions, and I'm going to try to do my best to answer them for you. What's going on, everybody? My name is Steven, the 918 agent, and like I said, I'm going to do my best to answer those questions for you because Tulsa is ranked number 14th most dangerous city in the United States, which is not a really good thing to be on. We have to address it. But before we address it, I'm going to ask a couple questions to a local resident here in Tulsa. Let's watch that clip. So, Forrest Hester, what do you think about the crime rate here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Mama.
Have you ever been scared for your life living here in Tulsa, Oklahoma? Very interesting. Let's start with some key findings of what the crime rate looks like here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa crimes are 153% higher than the national average. Also, violent crimes in the Tulsa area are 160% higher than the national average. That's not good. In Tulsa, you have a 1 in 16 chance of becoming a victim of a crime, which I don't know, that's pretty high. And Tulsa is safer than 2% of the cities in the United States. Year over year, crime in Tulsa has decreased by 3%. Yes, I'm taking that. Also, all this information and statistics I'm going over came from the FBI. FBI crime statistics. Okay, so what I did here is I broke down the total crime, murder, rape, robbery, assault, violent crimes, burglary, theft, vehicle theft, and property crime. And then I went to Tulsa compared to 100K people. Same thing with Oklahoma and the national. So if you notice, Tulsa is pretty much leading the charge in almost all categories. Actually, every single category. Doesn't look very good. But I just wanted to give you those numbers so you can check it out and look for yourself. All right, we're going to flip back the camera in 2, 1. So it's not looking too pretty for Tulsa, but hang on. We're going to get into more details in the areas you need to look at here in just a second. Okay, so let's go and talk about the districts or the areas of Tulsa so this makes a little bit more sense for you. So North Tulsa is anything above that Highway 244. We have Midtown, that's kind of in the middle of Tulsa. We have South Tulsa, that's underneath 144 or south of 144. And then East Tulsa, or some people call it New Tulsa, is basically east of 44 and Highway 51, which we also call the BA Expressway. West Tulsa is anything west of the river or the Arkansas River. So now that you know that little bit of information, let me go ahead and talk about what crimes are high in different areas.
Okay, so here we have the city of Tulsa map. Now you'll notice that there's a lot of different colors on this map. The lighter the shade of blue is, the safer that area is. The darker shade of blue is the more dangerous area. So thinking back to that last map I showed you with the different names of the different areas, let's go ahead and dive into it. So that first area I want to look at is our North Tulsa area. So we can see that Highway 244 is right here. And what's dividing North Tulsa and Midtown is 244. Now we can see that the shade of blue is very, very high in this North Tulsa area. Another place I want to look at is downtown, our Pearl District, in our Cherry Street area. Now, I'll say there has been a lot of renovations and a lot of new construction going on in these areas right here. So I wouldn't be surprised that if these areas start going to a little bit lighter shade of blue, especially with all those new constructions. Now, as we make our way down south, we can see that the shades of blue start to get lighter. This is where our gathering place is. This is where our Brookside area is. It's a very, very safe area. Really great place to live. When I talk to people online, which if you want to talk to me about living in Tulsa, please, reach out to me. And you can find me down in the description below all my contact information. But when I have these conversations, I say anything south of 244, north of 44, and between Riverside and Yale, this area would be a good area to live in. But the area I would not look at is anything south of 44 and north of 71st or maybe even 81st. This area right here is another area that is very high in crime, so I'll be very careful with that. But once we get past that area and keep on going south towards Bigsby, this area just gets super nice again. Very light on crime, so there'd be, nothing too much to worry about. West side of the river, there is some high crime in that area. And then also, as we make our way out to basically East Tulsa or New Tulsa, it's kind of just sporadic with crime. So that is the map of Tulsa and crime. Hopefully that was helpful.
All right, so we already talked about the general crime and the key points of the crime in Tulsa. We talked about the areas to avoid in Tulsa, at least avoid as in living in these areas. Now let's talk about the suburbs. So the suburbs is actually some of the safest in the state. And let me explain. Tulsa is the most dangerous city in Oklahoma. Now, 5 of our suburbs around Tulsa is in the top 10 of the safest cities in Oklahoma. I kid you not. So before I showed you the stats, let me go ahead and bring up a map that will show you the suburbs of Tulsa. So if you notice, just north we have we have Owasso. East we have Broken Arrow, which is close to New Tulsa. Just south, we have Bigsby. And then a little bit southwest, we have a suburb that is Jinx, and it's basically just across the river. Actually, the school district is a little bit, we'll go into Tulsa just a little bit. So these are the suburbs we're going to cover of crime. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, so I broke this down by the chance of being a victim of violent crime, the chances of being a victim of property crime, and then also the chance of being a victim of crime in general in that city. So if you notice, our first two that we have up is Tulsa and Owasso. Notice that Owasso is 1 out of 471 of a violent crime, 1 in 49, and also 1 in 44, which is a big difference from the Tulsa area. Now, let me go ahead and switch these screens real quick, and let's look at Jinx. So Jinx, of a violent crime, you're 1 out of 899. You're 1 in 82 of property crime, and 1 in 75 of just being a victim of any crime. Then we have Broken Arrow. This is a suburb on the east side of Tulsa, really close and connected to New Tulsa. 1 in 801 are victims of a violent crime. 1 in 56 is a victim of a property crime. And 1 in 53 is a chance of being in a victim of a crime in the city of Broken Arrow. And the last one we're going to talk about is Bigsby. Bigsby is south of Tulsa, and the chance of being in a violent crime or a victim in a violent crime is 1 out of 947. You have a chance of 1 in 71 of a property crime, and chances of being just in a general crime in the city area of Bigsby is 1 in 66. All right, I'm not going to lie. This is one of the harder videos that I've had to record because honestly, I like talking about positive things. I don't like talking about anything negative about my city. I'm proud to be in Tulsa. I'm proud to be an Oklahoman. So I don't like putting negative content out on YouTube or any of my social media. But I have to be honest and I have to be true. And I want to give you guys the, best material and the best videos for you guys to make that decision if Tulsa is going to be a good area for you to live in. I lived in the Tulsa area for about 5 years. My wife grew up in Owasso, and I lived in Owasso for the past, I don't know, I think of 10 years now. Yeah, 10 years. So I've had areas in the suburbs, and I've had experiences in Tulsa, and I've never felt unsafe while living in Tulsa. And I lived right next to 244, close to North Tulsa. And let me talk about that for a second. A lot of people that live in North Tulsa, or actually any of those areas that I said to not to avoid living, 95% of the people that live in those areas are nice and are sweet and are good citizens. It's the 5% that basically makes up for, the chaos that happens in those areas. And it's very, very sad. I know I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people that live in those areas, and they're great people. So nothing against those people. I just have to give the viewers the facts, and I hope you guys can respect that. So, my personal opinion, I didn't even know Tulsa was dangerous until someone told me the stats of, Tulsa's ranked, the top 10 of the most dangerous cities in the United States. I'm like, are you serious? Either way, still there is crime that is in Tulsa, and I have to cover it. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I know that video probably wasn't the, best video I've ever done, but hey, we got it done, and I let you guys know about the crime rate here in Tulsa. If you are thinking about moving into the Tulsa area, or have questions, or want to do a private Zoom call or a tour of Tulsa, please let me know. I've done this with several people already, and I'd love to help you guys out. So just reach me at that contact information right there, and get a hold of me. I'd love to talk to you guys. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please. Our goal is to get to 300, and actually my goal is to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So you guys can help me do that. I appreciate it. Oh, and Forrest wanted to say thanks for watching and bye. So here we go, Forrest. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tell them to subscribe.
Bye, guys.
Steven out.